and
Nice.
introduce Walid Kilonzi, the tallest hobbit as we know him in VR chat, to give us a bit of an insight into graffiti in VR.
Yeah. Awesome.
Take it away, Walid.
Thanks. Hey everyone, thank you for joining us today. I'm Walid Kilonzi, of course, the tallest hobbit. I'm an extended reality producer at Fallowhide, doing everything virtual reality, augmented reality, and mixed reality for a while now. Yeah, that's pretty much me. Of course, I do work at Fallowhide Studio, where we do all sorts of crazy things. And we're an extended reality studio that deals with corporate solutions and immersive narratives. And we like to use a very pretentious quote that we create original African realities that are true to the African people and their labors. Yeah, so we started like an effort called Craft Reality, and Craft Reality is supposed to be a way of kind of reaching out to artists who've never touched a VR headset or anything extended reality, and kind of just giving them those tools and seeing what kind of magic they're able to make. Um, and really, it's not just about them making that artwork. We're also trying to see how can we take their artworks beyond um, beyond like your typical art distribution, your typical local area, because like you'd find most of these things are localized, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of our dream, to kind of train, distribute, and help them monetize even that artworks as they grow within that industry. Great. So today we're going to be talking about graffiti in VR, and this is a Nairobi Fat Cap presentation. So, what is Nairobi Fat Cap? Nairobi Fat Cap is a Fallowhide initiative and a craft reality effort to train artists to make graffiti virtual reality art with social action concern themes of their choosing, in partnership with Jenga Culture, Baraza Media, Creative Economy Practice, iHab, and Artivive. We had a bunch of other supporters and partners. There are just way too many to list, but we got so much support. Awesome. So I'm going to introduce some of the artists. We've got Conrad, we've got Maria, we've got Cynthia, and we've got Kelvin. So I'm going to let them say hi. Maybe we can start with Conrad.
Hello, South Africa. How are you guys? Me, I'm good. My name is Conrad. I'm an artist and also a designer. Being a designer, specialized mostly in interior design, and I'm also a 3D artist. So I do most like rendering and stuff like that. But anyway, pleasure to meet you guys. Yeah.
Awesome. Quick note: we are all from all over here, so it's not just South Africa. They also think, if I'm not wrong, there should be Americans here, should be guys from Europe here and stuff like that. But yeah, thanks. Maria, you can say hi.
Hi, everyone. First of all, thank you for having me here. I am a visual artist. I am a painter. I work as a graphic designer, and I've trained in doing ceramics. So thank you, and I hope this goes well.
Thanks, Maria. Cynthia.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Derono. I'm an artist. I mainly focus on painting and illustration, but I also dabble in animation. I'm honored to be in this space, and I'm excited to see what comes next.
Awesome. And Kelvin. Kelvin, can you hear me? If you're trying to speak, you might be on mute. Okay, there you are. If you're speaking, we can't hear you.
Oh yeah, sometimes Discord messes up the settings. Sends the wrong mic out if you've got a couple connected. But if you click on the arrow below the mic, it should be able to let you choose the correct microphone. Sometimes choose the default one and then choose your microphone that you know is connected again. It'll help you. It should be quite quick. There's a little arrow just below the microphone on the chat.
Yeah, Kelvin, just try to, if you can, just try to mess around with it and see whether it'll work. But funny enough, it had worked earlier. But anyways,
I heard him. I heard him for a second.
yeah, yeah, huh? Okay, maybe would it work if he gets out then gets in?
He can try, but as I said, normally swapping your device works quite well.
Okay. Kelvin, if you can, yeah, just try that. But it's cool if you can't, because we can't hear you.
I see a green square. You there, Kelvin?
Yeah.
Okay. We can always carry on. We can join
Okay.
in a minute. Maybe you can rejoin.
That's fine. Yeah, Kelvin, just try leave, then come back. Great. So we did, of course, we did have a month to kind of train this artist in, of course, how to like deal with the VR headsets, VR safety, um, um, hand tracking, and all that kind of basics with the VR headset. And after they kind of had that training, of course, we trained them on how to use Kingspray VR, and they're able to make artworks even still with that 1 month. So we were lucky to have a showcase, an exhibition, and we're having a workshop this coming Saturday. We showcased the first Nairobi Fat Cap cohort at Baraza Media. It was packed, so we had anticipated to have like 40 people, and we ended up having double that, and we were having trouble trying to tell the owners of the space that we hadn't anticipated this. So that was really exciting. Then Alliance Francaise invited us to come and present Nairobi Fat Cap as a case study. So the future of print, how art can be made in VR and printed for publications, and also how augmented reality can be used to make publications more exciting. I should mention when we printed the artworks for the artists, you could scan the artworks and the artworks kind of come live. Some of them like have a 3D aspect to them, and others were more of like a video placed into it. So you're having like hands and tilts in that VR world that we've recorded from the VR headset to kind of just give variety also on the work that was being presented. Yeah. Yeah, so maybe I should talk about the tech. Of course, most of you here don't understand what kind of tech we use, but I thought it would just be nice to maybe browse over real quick. Of course, we did use an Oculus. We used a bunch of Oculus Quest 2s. And of course, we used Kingspray VR. And then we, of course, also filmed this in mixed reality so that we can see them in like that space being able to make that artwork. And before I actually show the artworks, I want to quickly show you something else. So I think one of the things that really got impressive while we're doing our showcase is the fact that the artists were able to make the artworks live. So, for example, when people are scanning the printed artworks on the side, people could gather around a TV, and there are like two TVs, and they were able to see the artists make the graffiti live, similar to what I'm currently showing you guys, and I hope you can see the video. Yeah, so I think you might notice that it's not perfect. We're not using your typical mixed reality setup here. We were using the iPad and and the mixed reality capture application, kind of just putting it together. I don't know how many people have used it. I've not seen many people use it for an actual setting, but that's what we had and that's what we used. It could get pretty like nice at some point, like the sync, how the green screen would kind of just take over, but other times it would get really shaky. But that was something really interesting that we wanted to explore. Great. Let me get back to my presentation here. So that was mixed reality. The artworks. Yeah, let me just present the artworks here. Great. So this artwork is by Conrad. I think this is the in graffiti is called Kingspray VR. Yeah. The location here is called Bullship Storage. This is by Cynthia. This should be the rooftop. This is the railway. This is by Kelvin.
Can you move your mouse pointer? Just put it on the side.
Sorry. Let me start. Great. So this is by Conrad. Something a bit abstract. At the Bullship Storage. Sounds very similar to something else. We have the rooftop by Cynthia. The setting is called rooftop, but this artwork is by Cynthia, of course. Then we have the railway, which was done by Kelvin, and then lastly we have the this one was called the what? I think it's the go down or something like that. And this was the largest artwork that we had, and we're going to discuss how much of a headache I put Maria through by kind of pushing her to make this really huge artwork, and you kind of don't understand the scale until like you're in the actual room. In and of itself, it's quite a large piece. Awesome. Let me jump back to my presentation real quick. Great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of discuss and kind of ask questions to the artists before we kind of get into a Q&A, so that they can also talk about the experience before anybody asks any questions. And also like just talking about the entire experience of showcasing, doing that graffiti live, and none of them had touched a VR headset before this, and also just kind of talking about that transition from normal art to making art in VR. Great, Kelvin. Could you try speak, see whether it works now? Kelvin, can you hear me? Okay, great. Great. So I think my first question would go to Maria. Maria, what was like your first like experience with VR when you jumped in, when I'm telling you, okay, fine, do some scribbling of sorts and see how this feels. Like what was your experience with that?
At first, I thought I'd be able to anticipate how it would be, but it was quite incredible. I didn't expect how immersive it would get, and even spraying for me. I've never done spray painting as like to make an artwork, so even getting used to spraying and then the whole VR thing it was quite a step, but it was fascinating. It was very very cool.
And I think that's very interesting. And Cynthia, like when you're being told that you're gonna make art in VR and you've never touched graffiti before, what's going through your mind at that time?
Um, I actually I didn't think it was possible to make art in VR. I only thought about gaming and maybe watching, but I never expected I could be able to make art in VR. So I was excited to see how that was going to turn out and
Yeah,
the experience, the process itself. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I was really really impressed once we once we understood how everything works. I was really impressed.
awesome. Conrad, what about you? Like, you enter that virtual space. You're there. What is the first thing you think about?
For me, it was more of what this must be actually be. I must be actually be dreaming because but for this part, it's one of those moments whereby you're able to experience that dream, and that dream is actually coming true. But the best part about it was, I did manage to get the hang of it, but it was so nice and awesome. Yeah, I actually liked the experience. It's something that I'd never experienced before. Yeah. It was like walking yourself into a different dimension. But I really liked it. Yeah, cool.
Calvin, can you try and mute and speak?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we now can.
Cool. Cool. So I'll start with the introduction. My name is Kelvin. Designer, brand identity designer, and activist. I like design for social change. I think that's something very close to my heart. And yeah, the actual experience jumping into a headset was. I didn't know what to expect, quite honestly. But the Oculus, like just the default Oculus settings were really cool. Like you just throw objects and all of that, so you get used to that. Then the robot, and then you jump into Kingspray now. So I mean, it was an interesting learning curve. Just seeing yourself in that virtual world. It's so immersive. You know, I didn't expect that. Just like Maria said, I didn't expect how immersive it will actually be. Yeah.
Awesome. I think I should also let everybody know that none of them had actually even spray painted before. Maybe some of them have tried, but they've never done like actual piece of work with spray painting. So it was a jump, just not in VR, but also like with spray painting. Those are like two jumps, which is mad. Um, Maria, you had the largest art piece, and maybe could you talk about what kind of trouble we ran into?
um, yeah, okay. At first, it was just like a silly challenge, but then I was like,
Yeah,
yeah, let me do it seriously. And okay, it did take a toll physically because you're literally doing like a very long wall, a whole mural. So physically, I found it quite
yeah,
exhausting. And then now there was
yeah,
the whole challenge of you mentioned augmenting, like
yeah,
getting it into that ratio that was specified for the app for augmenting. So because it was so lengthy, you had to like kind of DIY. You had to pick some pieces and make kind of like your like another version of the artwork. So that was a challenge. And then another one would be the recording,
yeah,
as in the recording of me doing it, because
yeah.
those were hours, very long hours. So that was another. another problem. So yeah, I think those are
Yeah,
like the two major ones that I can recall.
yeah, and that's the thing. And The craziest part about Kingsbury VR is the fact that you can't right off the bat be able to extract a recording naturally. You have to sit there inside a VR headset for God knows how many hours to record that entire experience. And most of actually all the artists spent more than I would say 8 hours inside the VR headset making the artwork. And that to me was absolutely crazy. Cynthia, maybe do you want to talk about how at some point the height difference was also a challenge? Being able to make VR art, you'd think that some of these challenges wouldn't be there, but it is there, right? You're a tall hobbit like I am, so yeah,
I okay. So if you do graffiti in real life,
yeah,
it's easy. It'll be easier to tackle the height challenge because you can use I can use a ladder or whatever as anything as a stepping stone. But then when it came to the VR, the best I guess the best I could do was tiptoe because
yeah,
again we're still new to VR, so we have to consider safety of the artist or at least
yeah,
safety of myself when I'm working. So I think
exactly, yeah,
the best that we had to do was tiptoe and maybe stand on a crate, which was again it was we were playing with my life at that point because um, I still got distracted a bit, but in the end, I managed to to finish the artwork.
yeah, which is awesome. Some certain spaces within Kingsbury VR don't have many things you can climb on. So you can grab some objects, but you not some spaces just don't have a lot. So if you're not tall enough, you're not able to reach certain heights. Kelvin, um, I showed you the space that had the train, and what was your reaction?
Yes,
What did
yes,
you
Walid.
think?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm
Cool,
asking.
cool. Mm.
When I presented the location for the train, and you have like a whole like section of a train that you're
A
supposed
full
to,
courage. Yeah,
yeah, full carriage, supposed to
yeah.
make your artwork. In your mind, what were you thinking?
I was like, this is gonna be amazing, you know. As a person who rides the train regularly or used to ride the train regularly, I was like, it was a dream come true. I get to spray paint a whole train, but I didn't understand how taxing it would actually be. You know, it was not as big as Maria's, definitely, but it was still a huge space.
Yeah,
You know, so like I'd say like probably like 5 or 6 hours into the artwork, this is several days, then I realized, oh, I could actually carry like wooden crates that gives me a bit of height. That really helped to complete the piece. Otherwise I was really struggling like to get to the top. Yeah, and even like the concept changed. All like I had the message in mind, but how to do the end goal, like how to make it really cool at the end, was a bit of a challenge, you know. Yeah, but I somehow managed, and I'm glad. It's a nice piece that I really enjoyed making.
um, great. So Conrad, you decided to go for something really, really abstract, and parts of it are in Swahili. Do you wanna take us through that?
Yes, let me do that. Okay, on the abstract, you can now from your left side, there's the word C. Now you can see an S. Then like, please zoom in a bit. I could see there's like an S. Then there's like a person standing there holding his hands up. So that's an I. then you have an N, then you have an A. So that's, so of which in English it means uh, uh, I, I don't, I don't
Yeah,
in English.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Then the second part you have the full spelling is Makosa. You can see an MAKO and then SA. So that's Makosa. So Makosa in English or in a part of us it means trouble. Okay, I'll use the word trouble. So sina Makosa means I don't have trouble. Then can you move on the other side a bit? So yeah, maybe just go through each letter. It's an abstract, but for each
yeah,
letter you have an A. So you
yeah.
can see the A. Yeah, you have an A. And then in the middle of it, you can see something like a siren. Then you can go to F, of which there's like a cape for the police and officer.
Yeah.
Okay. Then at the bottom of the F you have like something like a boat, but no, that's like a corpse boat. Then you have for that you have an A, and then you have an N, the one in yellow. Then you have D, then E. So in full, the spelling is Afande. So Afande is more like a slang in Kiswahili, of which it means police officer. So now in full, sina makosa Afande means I don't have any trouble with you, police officer. Yeah. So ideally, what inspired me to come to do so? What actually inspired me to do this graffiti is because my experience with the cops. Because most of the time, you may just, you're from work in the middle of the night, going home, then, a police officer out of nowhere just come and starts harassing you. So by the time he's starting harassing you, I'll be like, I don't have any trouble, any problem with the officer, I don't want any trouble with you, police officer. So that's what inspired me to come with the word Sina Makosa Fund. Yeah. So
And
yeah.
I think
Mm.
it, and that's the idea. That's what we wanted to kind of make sure that the art that you guys were doing would have a message behind it and kind of create conversation around certain themes. That's where Jenge Culture, an NGO that hosted us for a month, assisted us with also to kind of help the artists understand certain social action themes and understand facts on the ground. Um, Cynthia, can you talk about your artwork?
Yeah. So my theme for the artwork was mental health, and I wanted to create awareness on mental health and show how the people around you can affect you either negatively or positively. So my piece is about engulf, or at least the graffiti words at the top says engulf, and there's a figure. There's a figure inside the fish. It's kind of a fish ball, and he's drowning in her own thoughts. So the piece is about drowning in your own thoughts, and it can come in whatever form. It can be depression, anxiety, or whatever kind of thoughts you're going through. And the people around you, instead of taking you seriously, instead of being positive or being a sort of anchor, they instead tell you you're fine, go to sleep, you're just tired, and in the end they affect you negatively, and you don't feel like you can open up. Yeah, you can open up, and again, if you can't open up, really you can't let go of your problems. And the more you hold it in, it's like a bottle. The more you stuff it in, it can explode, right? So that's why the fishbowl has cracks in it, because this person is holding in the problem and not reaching out for help, because they don't feel like the people around them are helpful. And the water, or the thoughts are dripping out, and also the word and gulf, which represents the people around them, dripping and mixing, which means when this person finally explodes, they not only affect themselves but also the people around them. So I just wanted to create awareness on mental health and how serious it can be. Yeah.
That's really powerful. Awesome.
Thank you.
Kelvin, tell us about you hugging a tree.
Um, one, it's quite interesting that where I live, it takes
Hmm.
me 2 hours to see a forest, the
Yeah.
closest forest, I'd say. And we all know about climate change. As much as there's so many detractors who say it isn't real, it is real, and the effects are being felt farther than where the problem is actually emanating from. So it's Europe and all of these people have the most factories, but I mean they don't feel the effects. So they're like, how can it be? But Africa and all these other parts really can see like what's going on. So one of the things that is important, I think, is to mitigate climate change with trees. I mean, they are a source of life, source of fruit. Um, I mean, a tree has so much benefits to any environment, but we keep cutting them down. We disregard their importance. So for me, it was just this is a message of it's a protest actually call. It's something that we should do. We should hug a tree. Even better, we should plant trees. So you can see the message is front and center. The background is more of a desert kind of thing going on. And then a very abstract sky to just tie it. It's a very bold, powerful piece. Pretty much graphic designed more than artistic. I'd say a lot of graphic design influence where color and shape is really biggest consideration. Yeah, and I love how big it is. And it's a call to action. It's an action thing. It's not theoretical. Do something. Hug a tree. Yeah, maybe even better, plant trees. Yeah.
And quite honestly, whether or not it has influence in graphic design, uh, if I was to see this on a train, like I would see this on a train, like he's he used very loud colors, which somehow blend so well with each other. Awesome. So Maria, take us through your artwork.
Yes, my theme was to do with peace and conflict. So I chose a more simple approach since my artwork was quite big. Um, I wanted, first of all, the message to be, in the middle, right there in your face. Peace is a conscious choice, meaning that if you want to enact violence, or you have an option to choose from, you can always choose peace. It's not something that's not there on the table. So I put two doves holding this banner because usually like peace is associated with like doves and white. And then I picked a more passive kind of like a blue kind of color, which gets darker along the edges. Now I wanted blue to be more of like a soothing color, showing that now the people who are portrayed in this artwork, they're also at a state of peace. They're very calm about this. And I picked around five. Yeah, there were five people. Trying to capture members of the society. So maybe Walid, if you could scroll at the yes,
Right?
yes, thank you, yes, on that side, yes.
Okay.
So at the very end, you
Okay.
can see that I wanted to pick like a child, kind of like a kid who's still ignorant, and that's a person who can see the effects of peace and also understand how how negative violence can be. The next to the person was a lady, because we usually think that violence is mainly just men, but also women can choose violence through their words, also through their actions. And then next to her is a very buff guy. So a lot of people are interested about this buff guy, but it's true. He's also a member who can choose peace. And then on the other side, Walid, could you scroll to the other side? Right, and yes. So I picked two very odd characters. Um, Starting from the very end, there's a man with a big beard. I was picking on more of like the senior generation, the older ones, not like our eldest, but those who have seen. Sorry, those who have actually seen war or who have also understood peace, like they have life experience. And then the middle person, now this is the interesting character. I kind of wanted him to look unisex, him or her. So it's up to the observer to pick like who who you feel that person represents. So it could be you, it could be any other person you've seen before, but whomever they are, they're still a person in society who can choose peace. So yeah.
Um, Great. So I'm kind of finishing up on my questions here, but I don't know whether you guys had any favorite. So of course, in graffiti VR that there's different types of caps, uh, like there's the New York Fat Cap, there's the Pink Dot, there's a thin cap, 100% beef, feather duster, Cyclops, and standard cap. I don't know whether you guys had any favorite or like yeah. Does anyone want to jump in?
Um, I think one of my favorite cups was 100% beef. The one I used, that's the one I used for the background. I was really impressed with that. And then later on, when we were doing after the artworks, I also got kind of attached to the chisel cup.
Yeah, awesome.
Ha-
Uh,
hands down for me was the chisel cup. I'd say it the one that as you go down it blows out. I love that cup. I mean, I used it like crazy. Like three-quarter of this piece is made in that one cup. So as you go down the line, it gets thicker. So it really helped me round the corners, really helped me fill in the clouds, the background, all of that. So it was my best cap. I didn't do as much detail. So for me, it was just the boldness, the huge roundness. So that's what I played with a lot.
so great.
Um for
Go
me,
ahead.
I, I did like the thin cap because I like detail in my work.
Yeah.
And I saw myself using a lot of feather dust because it kind of made me feel like I was doing a painting because in painting you can blend colors very smoothly. So that was the closest I could get to that effect. Yeah.
On my side, I did mix both of thin cup and chisel. Yeah. There's one also for feather. So that's the ones that I used mostly. You said like on the far left, that one was more of chisel, a little bit of it, and then other side is a mix of feather and thin. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah,
Um,
both.
Great. So of course during the showcases and exhibitions, a lot of people said a lot of things about your work, and I think the sadness of I didn't know how to like present the augmented reality here today, for you to kind of get the proper treatment of how it actually presents itself. But like people said a lot of things about your work and things like that, and apart from just presenting your works, I think I really quickly want to talk about, especially with Maria, because she's the one who had the guts to to do this for more than you've done more than 30 hours. I want to say almost like 30 hours on that VR headset, almost doing live art. Yeah, Maria, tell us like what's your experience making VR graffiti with mixed reality capture?
Um, I was very nervous at first, realizing that people are watching me as I'm doing it. But it kind of did come naturally. There were instances where it would glitch a bit. I think it depends on like network. But other than that, it was really good. But there's always that pressure of remembering. Yeah.
And um, of course, I had to sit you. I had to sit you down and tell you the bad news that you couldn't wear just what you wanted because we were not using green screen, isn't it?
That's quite true.
And like you find that there's this problem whereby we're using an iPad to film the mixed reality capture, and you need to, like, of course, crouch to be able to kind of get under there and be able to kind of complete your artworks. And what happens when you press crouch on the actual controller?
um, you kind of glitch through, and then it really messes the whole display. You kind of, I don't know. You said like I was half visible, and then the wall was just cut off. It's
Yeah,
just messy, very messy.
yeah. But you were able to do what's the longest run you did? And was it? I can't remember whether it's Alliance or Baraza which you did longest. It should be Alliance anyways, because we were there for like
Um,
4 days.
yeah, we were there for long, but I
Yeah.
think one post session it was at Baraza because
Mhm.
I did two artworks in one
Oh
go.
yeah.
So yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. Awesome. I think that's that's it from me. If you guys have any questions either to the artist or me, you can you can ask.
I think is Maria still speaking? Or what happened?
No, she's done speaking.
Yeah, at Alliance, I also tried the mixed reality capture. I mean, it's more limiting to where you can actually move, as opposed to just putting it in VR, where you can move to your train, you can crouch, you can jump on stuff. With mixed reality, you actually need to just stand still on this in this space. So I think there's kind of a limit in that sense, where any sudden movement really messes up. So I remember like all the pieces I created were glitching and we had to start over. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was a bit crazy for me. But I mean, it's all good in life and love.
Easy about it is that we were able to carry that setup around. We didn't have to set up a green screen. Um, we had to get creative with our lighting, I have to admit. But the fact that we were able to carry a tripod, tablet holder, an iPad, and just the VR headset, and being able to achieve that, I think that for me was a win. Um, I really tried looking around to see whether that this kind of setup has been done sort of officially, but I just haven't seen any. But yeah, I think that was very, very interesting. Great. If anybody has a question or if the artists want to add something, can jump in.
Yeah,
I've got
thanks so much, guys. I was just thinking, and I had a question. You mentioned that you were doing this mixed reality capture and people were watching. So was this in like an exhibition space, or did you like? Can you tell us a bit about that? Was it in public, or was it an event?
So we had a showcase, which was a closed event where people had to like RSVP for that. And during that showcase, we printed the actual artworks, and the idea was that you could scan the artworks and they would come live. Then apart from that, on the stage, because we just finished the panel and stuff like that, we set up the mixed reality capture. We connected the iPad to a splitter. Then we connected it to two TVs so that people were able to kind of look at it from two different sides of the space. So that's what we were able to do at Baraza Media, which is in Westlands, Nairobi, Kenya. And then at Allianz, we had a 4 day exhibition from like 9 a.m. all the way to 6 p.m. So they gave us TV, whereby almost the same setup. You have your iPad connected to the TV, and then people are kind of watching as they're kind of passing by, or they're like, "Oh wow, is that actually live?" Then yeah, they kind of take photos and stuff like that. So that's how it was done. So yeah, it was, I would say, publicly shown.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for doing this. This is fabulous. I'm so happy to see you guys pushing the boundaries down there. I'm in Texas, in USA. So thank you very much. I was curious, how did you keep the headsets going in the overheating situation? Did you take breaks every hour and a half, or how did you manage that?
So I don't want to play favorites, but Maria seems to be quite a soldier, because she could spend 3 hours doing that live artwork, and I would constantly ask her whether she needs to take a break. I would try check the temperature of the headset, but somehow it will only just get warm. It's not actually that bad. Somehow the setup works perfectly, as long as you have. And sometimes we would not even use like public Wi-Fi, so we would use a phone and hotspot it, and being able to create that network. And the fact that Oculus has this mixed reality SDK that you can download, and the fact that you're able to kind of get it connected to an iPad, makes it a less cumbersome experience. So I would guess that's why it never went too crazy at some point. The only thing is that, of course, the battery would run out faster, but otherwise, really, eh, somebody like Maria, somebody like Kelvin, they had a blast doing it.
Did you publish the pictures of people watching anywhere? Do you have a video, documentaries kind of video that somebody else put together and posted it on the YouTube that we could see that? Or you could post that link here in Discord?
Yeah, definitely. We have a bunch of videos, photos that we have from that event. Yeah,
Nice.
let me just put it on the chat.
What's next?
So this is a pilot. We were just trying to see, because this was an effort to kind of just bring artists into XR and see what they can make. But
Right.
this is a pilot, and we are hoping to seek support and see whether we can make this big and better either this year or next year. So this is more of a pilot for now.
Was this the pilot? Was it or experiment? What was the name of the whole event called? What did you
Okay.
guys call it?
So it's called Nairobi Fat Cap. So okay, let me start from the beginning. Nairobi, we're here today as Fallowhide. Fallowhide is an immersive studio that deals with extended reality here in Nairobi, Kenya, and we are passionate about artists. So we started an initiative called Craft Reality.
Cheers.
And one of the IPs of Craft Reality is called Nairobi Fat Cap,
the
whereby we
gate's
train
working.
artists how
How's
to do graffiti in a VR headset
He needs to go to bed. He's got boxing
with
tomorrow
a
at 9.
theme tied to it,
What happened?
mostly social action theme.
Oh, yeah.
So we've done a showcase
Mom.
and we've done an
Good
exhibition.
to see
So the
you.
showcase was just showcasing the art. The exhibition was at
I'll see you on
Allianz
Sunday.
Francais here in Nairobi,
Buying us
Kenya,
lunch.
where we're now showing kind of like a use case in publications and how the future of publications could have VR art in it. Then lastly, with this Saturday, we are having a workshop just showing people
If he has any left.
how to mess around with VR graffiti and giving them a chance to just interact with the artist and make VR art inside the headset. So that's the entire the entire thing.
Well, congratulations! I think it's a wonderful project, and if you have an email list or something where I can join to follow you guys, I'd love to do that. Thank you.
Definitely. Yeah, I'll put the links on the workshop chat. Ike is asking, how did we connect the iPad to the VR headset? So wirelessly, there is a genius called, I keep on forgetting his name. But there's a genius who, in his underwear, made an app that can connect wirelessly between the VR headset and an iPad. So if you search on the Play Store, on not Play Store, on the Apple Store, I think it's called Reality Mixer. You're able to calibrate, then send that calibration to the headset. You need to now then leave the application, then go to the app of your choice. You set it up. Bada bing, bada boom. You're good to go. That mixed reality setup kind of just gets in there. And of course, let me just find his tutorial, just in case you want a more in-depth way of understanding of how you're able to do that. But it's quite easy. You can actually do it within 10 minutes. The only thing is that if you don't have a green screen, it'll really have trouble trying to separate you and the background. So that's something to watch out for. We were really, really lucky that the spaces that were being given, there was good lighting and there was even backgrounds and stuff like that. So the clip, like the clipping, wasn't that bad. It was noticeable, but not that bad. So that's how we were able to do that wirelessly. Wi-Fi network. We connect the reality mixer with the mixed reality capture SDK within the VR headset. Calibrate, go to the app that you want to go to, then you're simply done. You're able to kind of now do that mixed reality. Any other question?
Yeah, what's up, guys? Really great project. Loving it. It's Quake here from London, UK. I just want to ask, knowing what you know now after being through this pilot, what will you do better next time, or what will you change?
Um, I would say um, it's really hard to actually, because somehow we made it work. The only thing is that I would wish, number one is we had access to like dozens of powerful PCs, because the Kingspray VR for PC, you can record, you can shoot 360 photos inside there. With the Quest version, you can't do that. Also, the fact that we could record while the artists are kind of doing the artworks without it glitching out, that would have been nice. Because now, in terms of like social media content of marketing this entire thing, that would have been really, really great for people to understand, even from the perspective of the headset. Um, Otherwise, I really can't say that there's anything else. Oh yeah. So also testing. So Maria's artwork, we had to really like butcher it. We had to compress her artwork for the augmented reality. So Artivive was one of the partners who supplied us with promotional support and also some views. When you scan the artwork, it comes live. So next time, I would, before I tell somebody to make such a big artwork, I would make sure that the aspect ratio actually fits before I get into trouble again. Otherwise, yeah, I think everything went swimmingly.
Really awesome, guys. Appreciate the time.
Thanks.
Yeah, that was very cool. I had a question. You obviously know Black Rhino VR and their state of the art, and just curious if you've reached out to them or sort of getting in touch with doing a collab across artists or something like that.
Um, they're great guys, and I of course follow what they do. Currently, they're running so many things, and they're doing really crazy stuff. Not just in Kenya, but in East Africa and beyond. And I know that conversation is quite difficult to have at this time, and we were on a really strict, what I would say, schedule, because we were bootstrapping the entire thing. We were lucky to have some partners who even helped us get some certain resources that we would normally not have. But yeah, that's something definitely I'm open doing. They've been following our work, and I think that's great. And yeah, I hope maybe one day we get to collaborate.
That's very cool stuff. Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm on my last 2% of battery, so if I do disappear, great timing. And that was fantastic. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, super exciting,
Thanks.
Walid. Fantastic, man.
Thanks.
Great work. One question I have is: are the AR experiences available publicly, or is it like part of the exhibition?
So we're trying to finish up the workshop first. Then we want to now make them publicly available so that the artist can now share that artwork on social media and beyond, so that people are able to kind of scan and see that come live and stuff like that. As for now, not yet. So maybe I think in a week or so. Oh yeah,
Okay.
and I should mention,
Exciting.
and I want somebody to hold me accountable for this. I do want to make a VR chat world that showcases the artwork. I think that would be absolutely mental to just kind of see the scale of artworks that they've done in a VR chat world. So yeah, that's also something that we're looking forward to do.
I'll hold you to that, bro.
Awesome. Okay.
I think an international graffiti from multiple countries and combine them all and do them at the same time, or more or less figure out the time zone so that a bunch of people could participate and have one big show where you have different countries participating and using a theme of some kind would be very nice.
That's very true. But King's Spray Graffiti seems to have, I don't want to say lazy developers, but they seem to be very, they don't like touching their work because they barely put out updates. There's barely an online presence. The only thing that they have going for them is the fact that their simulations of graffiti are so good, and the fact that I'm able to extract PNGs. So we're able to actually extract without the background, without taking a screenshot, at a very good quality, which is great. Otherwise, yeah, they're quite a mess.
Well, thanks for being honest about it.
Yeah,
Good. I'm going to send you a friend request if you don't mind.
no worries.
Thank you.
There's
Cheers.
also a great spray paint prefab that Rick's put in some of his worlds, where you can actually in VR chat do. It's not King Spray, but it's still quite fun. So maybe including that for people to express themselves in your example world might be interesting.
Yeah, and I wonder, is it quest friendly?
No,
No,
unfortunately.
yeah, I didn't think so.
Okay. Yeah, I think what I'll do is I'll convince my laptop not to go blue on me when I try that. But I'll try it, yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.
What a great experience, man. The Fat Cap team and Cynthia and Calvin and Conrad and
Conrad,
Maria. Yeah,
yeah.
man. And of course, Walid, thank you so much for your insight into this groundbreaking work that you're doing up in Nairobi. I think it's been really special to see what you guys have been involved in, and we're looking forward to seeing those promised assets. Some of those links you've got to the media, and of course the AR and VR chat worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I think we should all give them a shout out, and maybe, I don't know, um, what do we do? Drop some emoticons in the chat or something. Where those
You
Twitch
can do
bots.
clapping.
Yeah.
Yay!
Clap, clap, clap.
Congrats,
Guys,
man.
thank you so much for the opportunity. And I think it's quite easy to understate how it is important for artists to come together from different parts of the world to just discuss and talk about the crazy stuff that we're doing and exposing ourselves to different types of storytelling. So this is really, really awesome.
Thanks, Walid. Cool. Well, I think we can wrap it up there, and we can chat some more in the clubhouse. If anybody hasn't run out of electricity or battery power on their laptops, it'd be great to see you all in the MVC clubhouse in VR chat in a couple. Maybe fill the glass and jump in there.